What's up, guys? Hope y'all are having a great day today, just full of so much positivity and happiness. I am back after a multi-month hiatus due to a very lengthy and annoying computer repair process, which I'm not going to get into here today, but needless to say, I am glad to be back and talking about some video games, dude.
Gaming.
And well, today on the chopping block, we are going to be talking about none other than Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag Resynced, which I think for a lot of people, including myself, this is one of the best Assassin's Creed games ever made. And this is one you can kind of tell that Ubisoft has been keeping in the back of their pocket as a get-out-of-jail-free card, because things aren't looking good for old Ubisoft these days from a financial perspective. It seems the only direction they've been heading is down, which is ironic considering that after Assassin's Creed 4 came out, it was pretty much all downhill for the Assassin's Creed franchise from that point. So it is kind of nice to come back and play this beloved entry in a once great series, and well, I must say, despite its many, and I mean many flaws, this is probably one of the most broken, buggy games I've played in quite some time, even by Ubisoft standards, which is saying something. I absolutely love this shit, man. Now, I do have my gripes about the combat changes, and again, the overall performance, and bugs, and glitches, and everything like that, but needless to say, I think this is a great remake for the most part. I've actually had a lot of fun going back and playing this. I've put about 15 hours in thus far. I don't really feel like I need to finish this game to talk about it because I've played through the original Assassin's Creed 4 about 4 or 5 times at this point, at least, and I've 100%ed it multiple times, so I kind of already know what we're looking at here. Really, the major changes you're going to notice from the original to this remake is the graphical update, which I think actually looks really good. The combat changes, which I personally am not a big fan of whatsoever, and on top of that, they've added like some additional voice lines and I think a few extra pieces of content here and there, but by and large, this is the exact same game from a story and overall structure standpoint. The game is by and large mostly identical in the overarching structure of what you're going to be spending your time doing. Again, really the only two changes are the graphical upgrade and the combat changes. I will not call those an upgrade for reasons we will get into very shortly, but overall, I think this is really great. It's been a great nostalgia trip, and I've genuinely had fun playing it, despite my gripes, despite the issues, despite all the bugs and broken aspects of the game. I think it is a lot of fun still, and it really speaks to how great of a game Assassin's Creed 4 was when it came out, that it holds up this well with very minor tweaks taking place, and still stands, in my opinion, as one of the best entries in the franchise by an absolute long shot, especially compared to modern Assassin's Creed games. But let's go ahead and get into the gameplay, because I feel like this is the part I want to talk about the most, and it's the part that I am definitely the most jaded on, and I really don't like these changes. Now, call me old-fashioned, but I absolutely loved the old counter-based combat system of the original Assassin's Creed games up until about Assassin's Creed Unity, where you basically would counter one guard's attack, and then you could chain that into just assassinating like 5, 10, 15, 20 guys even in some cases if you were actually skilled enough and effective at using the combat system properly. And that to me felt like Assassin's Creed, because you were this trained killing machine. You were easily mowing through entire waves of guards like it was nothing. Like, it actually made sense in the context of the series, and overall I just really liked that combat system personally. You know, call me old-fashioned, but that is what it was at the peak of the franchise, and I do miss that combat system here. I am not a fan of the modern Assassin's Creed combat whatsoever. I don't think it's very well done. I think from a mechanic standpoint, it is incredibly janky. There's a lot of dropped inputs a lot of time. You'll see an indicator saying that, oh, you should assassinate this guy, or, you know, use a takedown or whatever, and you're spamming the Y button and nothing happens. Then there's other times where you're like going into an execution animation, and because of the way the camera is set up now, you can't see that someone behind you is like flashing the counter icon, so you're unable to effectively block in time. There is now, you know, a ton of unblockable or uncounterable attacks that are thrown at you that force you to perfect dodge in order to go and attack that person. A lot of the targets in this game have been turned into miniature boss fights, which I absolutely fucking hate, man. Like, there was literally one on a ship where this guy was was deflecting your fucking pistol rounds, like using some shit out of the fucking Matrix or whatever. And I don't like it, man. I really dislike this modern Assassin's Creed combat style. Like, one of the worst parts of the Ezio trilogy was the boss fights, when you had to like fight Rodrigo Borgia or Cesare, for example. Those were not highlights of the game to most people who played Assassin's Creed. They were a final challenge to overcome in order to finish the game, and I guarantee you most people who played those boss fights were like, thank God it's over. Well, that's pretty much every major target in this game. Pretty much all of them have a massive health bar. Most of them will just straight up dodge like 99% of your attacks, unless you do a very specific, I guess, counter, dodge, or parry combo in order to get a few hits on them. You have to break down their stagger meter, which is something that every single enemy in the game has, before you can actually deal real damage. They throw a ton of unblockable attacks at you, forcing you to perfect dodge constantly, and I just don't find it fun, man. I don't like this change at all. Modern Assassin's Creed combat, to me, feels like The Witcher 3 combat. And The Witcher 3 was a great game in spite of its gameplay. That was a testament to how good the story and immersion factor of The Witcher 3 was, that despite this terrible third-person slop of combat, it was still a very enjoyable experience at its core because you were willing to overlook that factor. Well, Assassin's Creed, for whatever reason, took an extremely fun and extremely well-polished combat system and just turned it into this, slop tier, Souls-light, dodge roll and parry simulator, which I don't really like. Now, there are some aspects that I think have improved from recent modern Assassin's Creed games. Like, for example, when you hit a perfect parry and block a guard's attack, you have a takedown window where you can tap Y and it does an execution of that enemy. Well, in some cases, you're able to chain that to another guard, which kind of emulates what we had in the past with the counter-based combat system, but it stops at one guard. So you can only do it to one other person, which, I guess I get, because it would break the combat system that they have now, but yeah, there is like a semblance of them trying to harken back to the original combat system of the original Assassin's Creed games, and especially Black Flag, which I did like, so credit where credit's due, but there's just like a lot of minor annoyances here. So first off, health regeneration is gone. They have, for whatever reason, removed regenerating health, or at least lowered it to a certain degree that it basically makes no difference of having it or not having it. You basically have to use health potions, and this includes even after you have boarded a ship, taken out the entire crew, and either added it to your fleet or used it to repair your ship. So oftentimes when you're engaged in intense naval battles, you will go from ship to ship to ship, and maybe sometimes you'll forget to heal, and because of that, you will literally get one-shotted on the deck of the next ship you land on, or you might even get shot by some random soldier as you're pulling your ship into the other one and die immediately. This is like a minor annoyance, but I genuinely dislike the remedy system in Assassin's Creed. It was actually one of the big improvements that was made in Assassin's Creed 3 and 4, I believe, over the Ezio trilogy, which even the Ezio trilogy, some of your health did regenerate without having to use medicine or see a doctor, so there was a little less severe of an implementation than there is here in the modern Assassin's Creed games. But basically, this is a constant annoyance that keeps popping up, and again, it's specifically noticeable in the ship combat because oftentimes you either won't get a chance to heal yourself in between boarding, you will run out of health remedies in order to heal yourself, and on top of that, you have to go all the way back into town, go to a shop, then get back on your ship and go back out into the ocean. Like, it's not exactly practical, and I really wish they would have kept the system where your health auto regenerates in between activities, because it would just be a massive quality of life improvement that overall would make the ship combat a lot more fun. And this also plays into another problem that you will notice when you play this game. Now, another annoyance I have with the combat is the camera. It feels way too zoomed in, which is a very common trend with pretty much every single third-person action game, because everyone wants to be the new Sony walking simulator. Back that camera up, dude. I cannot tell you how many times I have been like in an execution animation where you tap Y to finish off a guard, and then all of a sudden, the second you get out of that fucking animation, a guard is literally swinging at you, and you have no chance to react because you can't see what's happening behind you, because the camera zooms in even more in order to show off the fancy and flashy execution. So this is another major annoyance, which in tandem with the health potion and non-regenerating health problem, you can start to see how it would be an annoyance. On top of this, the stealth, I'm playing on normal, keep in mind. Like, it feels like there's something off with the detection in this game, personally. Like, there are times when I'm, like, behind an enemy, the other guy's back is turned, and I'm not able to assassinate them without them being notified. So, again, that's probably just a change due to them implementing difficulty into the stealth settings, but I felt like I was getting detected a lot of times where it really wasn't, I guess, my fault, so to speak. Whereas in the past, you could easily walk up behind a guard, even if another guard was, like, standing 5 feet in front of them, assassinate that guard, move on to the next one, and so forth. But I felt like there was a lot of times where I was getting detected and I didn't do nothing, man. Trust me. For real, for real. But overall, I think the stealth is good still for the most part. It's one of the few things I do enjoy about Ubisoft games is the Ubisoft stealth, because it is pretty much just brain dead easy for all intents and purposes. But it did feel kind of off, I must say. But again, that might be due to the fact that I didn't put it on easy, or maybe the difficulty settings just kind of fucked with their system a little bit. No clue, but it did feel kind of off compared to the original Black Flag. Now, let's go ahead and get into the ship combat, because this is the star of the show with Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and it makes Ubisoft's Skull and Bones even more puzzling because they literally have the perfect formula for ship-based combat in this game, and it is absolutely fantastic. To this day, this is the part of Assassin's Creed 4 that everybody remembers, and it's what everybody wants more of, but for some reason, we can't get that today because Ubisoft and the entire Western video game industry, for that matter, is completely inept, and they are unable to reach the feats that their betters achieved just a mere 10 to 15 years ago. But overall, this ship-based combat is fantastic, man. It is so much fun. It's fast-paced. The controls feel great. It's great. It's awesome. If you remember having a good time with it in the original, you're gonna have a blast going back to it here. They really did not change too much whatsoever. Although, thanks to the new graphical engine, it looks better than it ever has, man. The water effects in this are absolutely stunning. The coloration, it just looks peak, man. As somebody who's been on multiple cruises in his life, this is exactly what the open ocean looks like, and they absolutely nailed it. So, credit where credit's due, man. Ubisoft hit it out of the park when it came to, I guess, preserving this aspect of the game and then augmenting it with the improved visuals. So, you're gonna spend a lot of time out at sea, obviously, and you're gonna be happy doing. Like, that is probably the most fun gameplay loop of Assassin's Creed 4 is going out on the open ocean, looting ships, adding them to your fleet, repairing your vessel, lowering your wanted level, and amassing your pirate booty. And overall, I absolutely love it. Like, I've found myself countless times just sailing around, shooting at random vessels, boarding them, taking them over, looting the hold, and just having a great time doing so, man. It's one of the most satisfying gameplay loops ever in any video game that I have ever played, and it just really takes me back, man, to a better time in the video game industry where the future looked bright and we had amazing games like Assassin's Creed 4 coming out all of the time. But I digress. I'll try not to take too many member berries here, but overall, ship combat holds up fantastically. On top of that, there is now a difficulty slider for the ship-based combat, so in the case of things like the legendary ships, which were notoriously difficult in the original game, like you will be beating your controller against your desk a couple times at least and trying to take those motherfuckers on. You know, they have added that option, so if it was a little too overwhelming for you, I guess you can, easily complete that if you'd like. Personally, I haven't messed with the difficulty sliders at all, so I can't confirm or deny how much easier it makes it, but for the most part, I always found the ship combat of Assassin's Creed 4 to be very intuitive and very easy at the same time, so I don't think I'm gonna have that problem. But I've had such a great time playing this game, and the ship combat is probably the star of the show, just like the original, especially with the new gameplay changes. Like, I would have been heartbroken if they ruined both the actual sword combat as well as the ship combat, but luckily the ship combat is alive and well and definitely the star of the show in this particular instance. That's basically pretty much everything I wanted to talk about when it came to the gameplay. Again, if you've played Assassin's Creed 4, you kind of know what you're dealing with here. All the activities, all the collectibles, all the side missions, pretty much the exact same, so not really any change on that front. It is your typical 360 era Ubisoft experience with awesome ship combat tacked on top, so you kind of know what you're getting into if you're familiar in the slightest with this era of Ubisoft video games. So not really too much more to add here. When it comes to the story, again, not really anything has changed, at least that I have noticed thus far in playing through the story. Again, I'm about 15 hours in, so I haven't completed it, so I can't say 100% if it's a one-to-one recreation, but for the most part, it seems like it, man. There is very little variance here whatsoever. It is pretty much a copy-paste, minus, of course, the modern-day sections of the story that were taken out, which, honestly, I think that was for the better of the original Assassin's Creed 4 story. Now, you do get the added benefit of some updated character models, which definitely aid in your enjoyment in certain cases, but for example, there are some funny instances of the character model where, let's just say, it was a little incomplete.
I just can't do it. I can't take this shit no more, man.
You know, I guess nothing wrong with letting it all air out back in the pirate days, man. I guess it was all about freedom after all. But overall, I think, you know, story-wise, it's great. It holds up well. It feels like an authentic pirate setting. I know a lot of people are trying to say it was, like, censored or woke or whatever. And personally, I haven't really gotten that vibe at all, like, compared to the original. Again, it's basically the exact same thing. So if it was woke back then, it's woke now, or vice versa. So I feel like a lot of people are just trying to cling on to any semblance of controversy they can to get some easy views out of this shit, but overall, bro, I think it's pretty much a one-to-one recreation of the original story, and I think that's definitely for the better, because I highly doubt Ubisoft would be capable of making women this attractive in any new game they put out. So overall, I think this is actually really solid. The story holds up incredibly well. Again, it feels very authentic to the time period, and it's one of the few rare instances, especially now with the modern Assassin's Creed games, where the setting really does match with the characters almost perfectly. So I think this is very well done on that front, and overall, I'm really enjoying it. So again, I haven't played Assassin's Creed 4 in probably about 3 or 4 years at this point at least, so it's been really nice to go back and revisit it, and it holds up incredibly well on that aspect. Now, I did touch on some bugs and glitches in the very beginning of this video, and while I don't have like a huge compilation of shit to show off, because I feel like it's kind of counterintuitive at this point, it's a Ubisoft game, people know what to expect, but I must say that even as a Ubisoft game, this is incredibly buggy, man. There is pretty much every type of bug you could possibly expect to find in a game present in Assassin's Creed 4 Resynced, and well, I don't know. As someone who played the original, and as buggy as that shit was, I still had a great time with it, despite all of those issues, and I think the same applies in this instance, but for a remake in 2026 that they're basically charging full price for, 13 years after the initial release, like, come on, guys, really? You couldn't have done a little bit better? You couldn't have polished out a little bit of these issues? Like, you will find everything from lighting pop-in, you know, characters randomly spawning, getting detected randomly out of fucking nowhere, you know, enemies being underneath the map or floating above you, ships sailing under the sea or on top of the water, floating through the sky. You will also have instances of ship health bars sinking to the bottom of the ocean even though the ship is above water. You will have issues with the harpooning minigame like I did, where I hooked a killer whale and the whale swam behind the boat and the boat remained stagnant the entire time, so I had to keep rehooking it over and over again just to damage it. I mean, there's every form of bug you can ever possibly expect. I think even the Davy Jones bug is still present in this game, but it now takes place during a cutscene and not during actual, you know, just regular gameplay. So overall, guys, this is a Ubisoft game through and through. A little bit of jank is to be expected. A little bit of bugs and glitches sprinkled in here and there is to be expected, but this is pretty bad by modern standards, especially as a re-release of an old game. Like, I don't want to say it's not worth buying the game over, but I would not blame you if you wanted to wait a while in order to pick this up either discounted or after they iron out some of these major issues, because it's definitely buggy. And I think for re-releasing a game at full price, they should have fixed a lot of this shit. Again, it's not acceptable for any game to launch in this particular state, but is it going to completely hinder your enjoyment of the game to the point where you're not going to want to play it? No. I think despite despite the bugs and glitches and everything else in that aspect, you're still probably going to have fun with it regardless, but just know it going in. It's a Ubisoft game, so you kind of already expect it, but this is definitely one of the more insane instances that I can think of. I mean, the only thing that comes to mind recently is Star Wars Outlaws, with how buggy this particular game is, because that game was also incredibly buggy as well. So in conclusion, should you go out and buy Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag Resynced? And I think the answer is yes. If you have never played the original Assassin's Creed Black Flag before, or you haven't played it in several years and you want to revisit the game. I think in both of those instances, it's probably worth going and picking up full price. Now, if you recently have gone out and purchased Assassin's Creed 4, played it within the last few years, maybe hold off and wait for it to go on sale, or at least for them to iron out some of the technical issues, because again, I find that to just be completely ridiculous, man. A 13-year-old game having the exact same problems as the day it launched, especially in a quote-unquote remake slash remaster, like, come the fuck on, man. What are we doing here? But overall, I don't think $60 for this game is a bad price whatsoever. I think you'll probably get more than your $60 worth out of this game. Now, it is kind of gay that they are charging for, like, the map pack and some other bullshit in the game. I know people are upset about the cosmetics, which personally I don't really give a shit about. I've never really bought that shit in Assassin's Creed games, so doesn't really affect me whatsoever. All of the original content is in the game. You don't have to pay any additional money for that. But overall, I think for the most part, this is probably a recommend on my end. I don't think you're going to have a bad time playing this. Do I wish the combat was like the original? Absolutely. But despite that, I would be lying if I said I was not having a great time going back and playing this game again. So I would definitely recommend picking it up if you are interested. Again, it wouldn't hurt to wait for a sale or for them to iron out some of the technical issues, or you could just go buy the original Assassin's Creed 4 while it's still listed, because in all honesty, that game has aged incredibly well. Like, yeah, you won't get the flashy new visuals, but you'll get, in my opinion, a better combat system and basically the exact same game. So that is also an option if you don't want to shell out 60 shekels for the new release. So just something to keep in mind. But overall, I did have a really good time playing it. I'm looking forward to finishing it up, and overall, I think Ubisoft, for the most part, aside from all the technical issues, this is actually a pretty solid game, and it really just reminds you of how good we once had it, man. You know, here comes the rant part of the video, but overall, it kind of makes me sad, dude. It makes me very, very sad as well as happy at the same time, because on one hand, I get to play this old game that I loved in a new, shiny fashion, but it just really reminds you how completely creatively bankrupt and untalented the modern video game industry is. Like, the fact that we have never gotten a true successor to this game after 13 years and are once again having to buy a re-release really speaks volumes. And it speaks volumes for the entire Western video game industry, because this capitalization on nostalgia is basically the name of the game going forward. The new developers, if you can even call them that, because most of the developing gets outsourced to India nowadays, which is why everyone uses Unreal Engine 5, by the way. You know, the developers don't know what the fuck they're doing. And even if they do, they're so politically brain-rotted that they're incapable of actually making good games like this anymore. They're more interested in pushing whatever fucking message that comes down from the top or in their own heart of hearts than actually developing a fun gameplay experience first. And Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced is another symptom of this industry-wide problem, where the new age developers, again, if you can even call them that, drive a once great publisher or studio into the ground, and as a result, because they're in financial ruin, they have to deploy a nostalgia pill in order to get a cash injection in order to fight another day. And this is yet another example of that, man. We are seeing more and more re-releases, remakes, collections, etc. And overall, I can't really even say that I'm upset about it, because really the only games I look forward to nowadays are remakes or re-releases of games I enjoyed in the past. I am so black-pilled on the future of video games when it comes to the Western gaming market especially. Japan still has a few holdouts that are putting out some gems from time to time, but in regards to video games and the entertainment industry in general, the West has fallen, and I don't really think there's ever going to be a recovery, man. The only thing they know how to do is repackage nostalgia to get people to go, I remember, and then shell out $60 for the same game they played 13 years ago, which, you know, I'm guilty, man. This is the stuff I look forward to nowadays. You know, my most anticipated game is Final Fantasy Fantasy VII Remake Revelation. And while that game is practically new, it still plays on my nostalgia for the original Final Fantasy VII at its core. So, I don't know, man. We're in a pretty rough spot when it comes to the video game industry. I think Nintendo, Capcom, Square Enix to a degree, and a few other studios here and there are really the last holdouts. We have basically this husk of a once great industry, especially in the West, and by extension PlayStation, because they're now based in California, where, you know, you have these great IPs. You have these studios that have a fantastic pedigree in theory, but none of the people that made those studios great in the first place are still around to work on future games. So you just have a bunch of inept ideologues using once great franchises and studio names in order to extract money from the last semblance of a fan base that all of those entities once had. I mean, look at what happened with Halo. Look at what happened with Call of Duty. Look at what happened with so many great games. God of War, for example. And shit, the topic of this video, Assassin's Creed. Like, the last Assassin's Creed I genuinely enjoyed was Unity. Like, it's bad out here, man, and studios are going to keep doing this. I would not be surprised if in another 10 years we get another Assassin's Creed 4 remaster, or we get a remake of the Ezio trilogy next, or whatever it might be. Whatever Ubisoft or whatever studio it is thinks they can repackage and re-release to play off of people's nostalgia. Because if you look at industry trends, kids are not buying video games anymore. They're playing Roblox, they're playing Minecraft, Fortnite, and they're interacting with the games inside of those games. They basically pick a platform within a game and just play that. So it's all of us old unk status gamers, you know, 25 and up, that are still buying video games. So what's going to happen? They're just going to cater more and more to our nostalgia to keep paying for all the flops they keep shoveling out there that not a single soul on this earth was asking for. Who the fuck asked for God of War Laundry Edition? Who the hell asked for Assassin's Creed set in Japan where you play as a black guy? Like, that's what I mean. It's just, the gaming industry is gone at this point, guys. The only good games that are going to come out now, especially from the West, are repackaged games made by more talented people that are long gone from the industry. Whether they retired, whether they were pushed out, whether they got Me Too'd by some backstabbing bimbo who wanted to climb the corporate ladder, it doesn't matter. They're gone. The talent has left the building, and what remains is the ruins of a once great industry that truly I don't think will ever recover, and the gaming crash cannot come soon enough, man. All of these people LARPing that gaming has never been better, dude, it's the best time to be a gamer at any point in history. Like, I actually feel bad for those people, because either they're just lying to themselves and they know it's not true deep down, or they just didn't get to experience when gaming was actually good. And I guess maybe the one good thing about all these re-releases is maybe more and more people will get a taste of what gaming used to be like in the better times. Like, for example, you know, all these new people that might go out and play Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag Resynced, you know, maybe they'll realize that, hey, Assassin's Creed actually used to be a lot fucking better than the dog shit we get with Shadows and Valhalla and Odyssey and Origins. But maybe I'm just being a little too optimistic there, you know, because again, I don't really think new people are going out and buying these games. I think it's the people who played Black Flag in the past that are going to go out and buy this game. So I don't really know how good the penetration is into a new audience when it comes to titles like this, and it would actually be pretty interesting to get some insight on that particular topic. But again, I have no clue personally, and overall, while I do enjoy my remakes, remasters, and repackagings, because it really is the only thing I look forward to nowadays for the most part, it is kind of sad at the same time that we just keep getting reminded of how good we once had it, and that we will never have it that good again. Things will only continue to get worse before they ever start to get better, and honestly, at this point, I am full steam ahead, cheering on the total collapse of the Western video game industry. But anyway, guys, rant over. I just wanted to say that little piece at the end, because while I am really enjoying Resynced, it does make me kind of sad deep down that, you know, the days of the past will never be surpassed. And, you know, maybe that's how everybody feels at my age. I don't know, man. I am pushing 30 at this point, so by internet standards, I am definitely unk status, so it is what it is, man. But yeah, if you guys have never played Black Flag, I would definitely recommend going and picking this up, or just play the original. Again, it held up pretty damn well, so I think in either instance, you're gonna have a great time with it. This truly is a special game, and it was developed at a very special point in the video game industry where it was basically the only time where a game like this could ever exist. So whether you play the original, whether you go out and buy the resynced version, go experience Black Flag in some capacity. And then come back here and let me know what you thought of it, because genuinely it is one of my personal favorite games of all time, and I'm having a great time going back and re-experiencing it. But anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this video. I have talked more than long enough. I was planning on making this 15 minutes because I really didn't think I had too much to say about Black Flag, considering it is pretty much the same game as the original, but here we are. So if you made it to the end, make sure to drop a like on this video. I would greatly appreciate it. And as always, I do want to say thank you all so much for all the support on the channel. You guys really are the fucking best. Hopefully I'm not going to be MIA again for this long. Again, I had a multi-month process of getting my computer fixed, which was an absolute nightmare. I went through a new GPU that I had to buy for $4,200. I had to get 2 new power supplies, and eventually we figured out what the problem was. It was the CPU. So it was an absolute fucking nightmare. I'm glad it's over, and I'm glad to be back business as usual. So I really do appreciate all the support, guys, and especially everyone who's stuck around for this long. So you guys are the fucking best. Again, I can't say it enough, and just thank you, and I will catch you guys in the next one.